Hello everyone, this is Lego Toby, and today I will be doing a Lego set review on what is undeniably the biggest and most part-heavy Lego set in my entire Lego collection as of yet. And it is pretty insane what it is, essentially. But it is the Lego Marvel Spider-Man Daily Bugle. Yeah, it is insane that I finally have this set and that I'm doing a review on it. And the set number for the set is 76178. No one really cares for the set numbers though. What is important about the set is that this set has a massive piece count of 3,772 pieces and comes with 25 total minifigures, making the set have more minifigures than any other Lego Marvel set to have ever been released by Lego so far. And because of the massive piece count this set has, it is also, as of right now, the largest and most part-heavy and most expensive Lego set in my collection as of right now. And there's just so many more titles I can go with that in terms of like the most in my collection alone. But I'm not going to waste your time by bragging to you about that. And this set originally came out back in June of 2021. And when it first came out, it was originally $300. But unfortunately, due to inflation, there were price increases with the set and raised it $50 extra. But $350, in my opinion, isn't terrible for the set at all, to be honest, or either. But I did unfortunately have to pay an extra $50 for this set, being someone who did end up getting this set after summer 2022. So yeah, well after summer 2022, actually. I didn't get this set until a few months ago as of recording. But either way, yeah, what are we waiting for? Let's get into the minifigure selection finally. I'm excited. So first, we have Spider-Man, and his main accessory is a typical string with a couple studs at each end and a couple areas for minifigures to have their hands clip onto. But it is a really common piece and nothing worth noting beyond that. The real interest is, of course, the minifigure himself. And I gotta say, even though this is a relatively common minifigure appearing in almost all of the 2021 Spider-Man Lego sets, it is a shockingly great minifigure. Like, one of the best Spider-Man minifigures Lego's ever made, especially in terms of comic book minifigures. Not only is the torso and head printing pretty detailed for what it is, but he even has, when you look at that, side arm printing. That is pretty awesome for a pretty common minifigure. And he has dual molded legs too. It truly is one of the best variants of Spider-Man. For as common as he is, I will say this is an amazing minifigure in my personal and honest opinion. Unfortunately though, the next minifigure we'll be taking a look at won't be as great, because here we have Venom, and personally I am not a big fan of this minifigure, mainly because this variant is just so common. Like, we've been getting this exact same variant of Venom since 2019. And, like, I'm pretty sure to this day, Lego is probably still making variants of Venom and finding places to include this minifigure. Like, it is just such a boring minifigure by this point to get. And, like, he has a ton of spikes coming out of him because, you know, he's like a symbiote thing. But removing all his accessories, again, having the symbiote stuff coming out of his hands and having the spikes on his back with the Outrider attachment piece, just gonna remove all that. You can tell that he has his mouth open, and here's what the front of the minifigure looks like. And here he has some back torso printing, but no back head printing. Overall, a really boring and really generic minifigure, in my opinion. Probably one of, if not the least desirable minifigure in this entire Lego set. So, besides the boring Venom minifigure here, even though Carnage is a pretty common minifigure too, I will say this is undeniably a far more interesting minifigure with a lot more going on. Once again, there's a ton of interesting symbiote stuff going on here in terms of builds, such as these as his accessories. Just gonna remove those. And once again, he has a ton of stuff coming out of his back. Again, pretty much being the symbiote stuff. But unlike Venom, who just has no printing whatsoever, well, I mean, has some print, you know what I mean. Carnage is way more detailed. Not only does he have way more detailed face printing and torso printing, He also has leg printing, and when you look at that, he has back head printing too, and really interesting back torso printing as well. Like, this is another really solid minifigure in my opinion. Even though he is a pretty common minifigure, I will say, a very solid one nonetheless. So, time to put Carnage away, and we're pretty much done with the symbiotes now. And now we shall move on to Sandman, which this particular variant of Sandman I have a ton of mixed feelings about. Because on one hand, I love this piece they give this minifigure here. I believe it was initially introduced with the Lego Hidden Side theme, and I just love this cyclone-like piece that attaches to the torso. I'm not sure what style piece to call this. I wouldn't call it legs exactly. I mean, I guess it's, I wouldn't call it leg attachments either. I don't know. I don't know what to call it. I'm just going to call it the cyclone piece, the minifigure cyclone piece, and it's a really awesome dual molded piece. I believe it's dual molded anyways, like really detailed, captures the sandiness really well. And the torso printing with this minifigure is also really great. He has some back torso printing too. But my main complaint with this minifigure, if it's not obvious already, is the head. My gosh, what did they do to you, Sandman? Like, they just ripped out all the essence and all the soul out of Sandman, and what we get is the most generic crook face we could possibly ask for. Seriously though, like, they literally give him the angry clone face. Like, that is the most generic villain expression you could possibly ask for from a minifigure in a Lego set. Like, it's just so painfully boring and generic. Like previous Sandman minifigures had different unique expressions that defined the character well. This face print is just really dull, really common, just lame. What's even worse is the hairpiece they use, where it's the most common generic hairpiece you could possibly ask for. Like, they really did rip out all the soul and essence out of Sandman, and that is really disappointing in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of it. But on the other hand, though, again, this... Oops, I'm constantly dropping the minifigure, sorry. This piece right here is truly amazing in my opinion. And the torso printing is pretty solid too. But it's just the head of this minifigure that's just so poorly done in my opinion. So, moving on to the next minifigure, we of course have Mysterio, which I gotta say, this is a pretty nice variant of Mysterio, where he has this nice blue, glittery blue helmet piece, which I really like. And you could actually fit a normal minifigure headpiece in there with printing and everything. But unfortunately, though, what you get underneath is just the most generic gray headpiece. Like, it's not even the silver headpiece the Far From Home variants of Mysterio had. No, it's just a generic gray hairpiece. However, I will say I do like the more comic book inspired torso print that this minifigure has. And here's what the back torso printing looks like for those who are curious. And once again, he comes with a nice magenta color cape, as always. And the only way to get this minifigure is through the 4+ Mysterio mech from 2020 and the $40 Spider-Man Monster Truck set. So overall, pretty decent minifigure. A bit common, but still a pretty nice representation of comic book Mysterio. And the next minifigure we'll be taking a look at is Green Goblin. And I gotta say, man, this is a really amazing variant of Green Goblin. I really like this one. Once again, his face printing is really detailed for what it is. But yet, it's not as cartoony as other variants of Green Goblin. It's honestly more creepy looking, if you ask me. Like, more demonic than previous variants of Green Goblin. But you can still tell it's Green Goblin. Yeah, and his front face print is him smiling, possibly cackling. And his back face print is pretty much him just being a bit more angry. Like, it's the kind of expression where it's like, dang, Spider-Man got away! Or, you know, something like that. Or, I've been caught in the action, dang it! Or, you know, something like that. So, you know, you can still, despite it being a more demonic looking face print than previous Green Goblin minifigures, you can still, it still captures Green Goblin's expressions really well, in my opinion. And also, he also comes with a satchel piece, which is pretty nice. But you can also remove it like this, too. Okay, yeah, maybe not with the hat piece, but you can remove it through the minifigure head, which is pretty awesome. And here we are still left with an amazing minifigure that is really detailed in both the front and back torso printing. That's just really detailed as a whole. And the leg printing too is really great as well. Another incredible variant of Green Goblin. Again, a lot like with Mysterio, this is a bit of a common and easy to obtain minifigure. As for he did initially appear in the $70 Spider Layer set. And they also later reused him last year in 2022 with a Spider-Man Monster Mech versus Green Goblin Monster Mech. So, and I do believe that set's available too as of recording this. So if you want this minifigure, but you can't afford the set I'm reviewing right now, then I guess that's the best way to get that variant of Green Goblin. But now to put the satchel piece back on, just like this. Let me just raise his arm up like that. Okay, okay, there we go. All right, now moving on to Spider-Gwen, where I'm not exactly sure if the prints are the exact same as from the 2019 Spider-Gwen minifigures, but I do know this, though. This particular variant of Spider-Gwen with this awesome new hood piece here only appears in one other set, that being the Spider-Man Monster Truck set. And unfortunately, there's not much other detail besides the eye printing on the minifigure headpiece. But I will say this, though, removing the Power Blast web piece because I don't think I need to bring that up. She does have nice front and back torso printing. So overall, pretty solid minifigure for what she is. But I don't have much else to say about this minifig beyond that. It's a pretty good minifigure, pretty good representation of Ghost Spider as a whole. Next up, we have Miles Morales, and I gotta say, this is easily the best Miles Morales minifigure we have ever received from LEGO so far. Once again, he does come with a generic Power Blast web piece, but that's obviously not the reason why I think this is an amazing minifigure. This minifigure, once again, is only seen in one other LEGO set, that being the Miles Morales mech. And this minifigure is just truly amazing, in my opinion. Not only does he have dual molded legs, which represent like shorts over his Spider-Man suit, which is amazing, but he also has amazing detailed front and back torso printing that is exclusive to this minifigure, and it really fits this minifig well. And that you also get some nice head printing as well. And it's just an amazing minifigure, especially for those who are a really big fan of Into the Spider-Verse. And speaking of that, Across the Spider-Verse is actually coming out in a couple days as of recording this video, which is exciting. And as a whole, again, another amazing minifigure. Probably the best minifigure we've taken a look at on this review so far, I'd say. Like, this minifigure is just amazing. It's perfect for anyone who's an Into the Spider-Verse fan. And it's not that common either, so yeah, truly just an amazing minifigure. I love this minifigure personally. And then we have Spider-Ham, who this minifigure was initially exclusive to the $80 Venom Source Ambush set released back in summer of 2020. And once again, he comes with a generic web Power Blast piece that I honestly don't have much to say about. And as for the Spider-Ham minifigure himself, I gotta say this minifigure is pretty good for what he is. I really like the uniquely molded headpiece with the Spider-Man mask on his nose with the eyes as the nostrils. That's always pretty genius. And he has back torso printing with even pig Spider-Man logo on it. It's pretty awesome. This is a pretty good minifigure, and for a time was one of my favorite LEGO Marvel minifigures before he was reused in the set. But still, this is a somewhat rare minifigure to obtain, as for the only other way to get this minifigure is through the $80 Venom Source Ambush, which is now retired as of recording this video. And now we're just left with the civilians, starting off with, of course, Peter Parker. Once again, he comes with the same satchel piece as Green Goblin. And I don't have much else to say about Peter Parker beyond this. He has the torso printing from, I believe this torso print was initially introduced with the Jack minifigure from the LEGO Hidden Side theme, which is what the back torso printing looks like. Comes with generic blue legs and generic hair. I will say this, though. The face printing fits Peter Parker well, at least Tom Holland Peter Parker, where you get like a pretty nice smile on one side, but on the other hand, you get a more worried expression. And this expression right here really fits Tom Holland Peter Parker, but I guess it fits regular Peter Parker as a whole, in my opinion. Again, truly another pretty good minifigure in this set. Though he doesn't have any exclusive pieces, this is still a pretty nice minifigure either way. And now moving on, we of course have Aunt May, where I believe her face printing was initially introduced with the 2019 Venom Mech versus Spider-Man mech set. And, you know, she has a pretty nice motherly-like face print on her front. But on the back face print, it's her screaming or calling for help or something like that. So, again, another pretty good minifigure in terms of face printing. The hairpiece fits her as well. She comes with a plate of cookies, which is a pretty good accessory for Aunt May. I'm putting that aside, though. Yeah, the torso printing, I believe, originated with the Hermione Granger minifigure from the LEGO Harry Potter theme. At least that's where I have a copy of this torso piece from. Here's what the back torso printing look like. And, again, a pretty okay minifigure. Not my favorite, since she does use a lot of relatively common pieces, but still a good one for what she is. Next up, we have Gwen Stacy, pretty much the alter ego of Spider-Gwen. And I gotta say, yeah, this torso print I know for a fact originated from the LEGO Hidden Side theme. Here's what the back torso printing looks like. She comes with teal legs, and her front face printing is, I guess, a generic expression. And on the back, she has a more determined expression. I really don't have anything else to say about this minifigure beyond that, though, so yeah, I'm just going to make her back to her original expression, and I'm going to move on from there to a minifigure that I kind of forgot to talk about here, but we of course have Dr. Octopus, aka Otto Octavius. And the minifigure himself appears in a couple other LEGO Spider-Man sets, that once again being the Spider-Man Monster Truck set, as well as a Dr. Octopus mech versus Spider-Man mech from 2021. And I gotta say, yeah, okay, I think I should talk about the back attachment, or his arms, first. Yeah, these are the most detailed and incredible, intricate Dr. Octopus arm builds we've ever received from LEGO so far. I mean, it is kind of understandable, as for this is an 18+ LEGO set, and it is expected to have detailed builds like this, but still, these are incredibly posable. I would argue these things are a bit too posable, but one way or another, these builds look incredible. I really like how they turned out. But removing the arms from the back, which once again are attached by an Outrider back attachment piece introduced back in 2018, we have the minifigure himself, and once again he comes with nice torso printing. The back torso printing is really interesting, and he comes with some nice face printing too, where he's smiling deviously on the front face print, and on the back he's making more of a frowny face for a face print. So yeah, I gotta say, again, another pretty good minifigure for what he is. Mainly for the way the arms were built this time around, but once again, I gotta say, a pretty good minifigure for what he is. And now, going back to the civilians, we have Betty Brant, which uses exclusively common pieces. I have no idea where this torso print came from, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty common. Here's what the torso print looks like from the back. And on the front face print, she's, I guess, smiling. And on the back, she has a more determined or angrier face print. So, yeah, again, don't really have anything else to say about this minifigure beyond that. And then we, of course, get Robbie Robertson. Once again, having a bit of a generic torso print. Here's the back, oh, he does not have any back torso printing. Did not realize that. Either way, yeah, on his front face print, he is smiling or making a smirk. And on the other, he is a little more disappointed. And if I'm not mistaken, this was actually initially used in the 2021 Grief Karga minifigure, or would later be reused for that minifigure, since the set actually released a couple months before the Imperial Armored Marauder set was released. Either way, it's not really exclusive to this minifigure, but still it's a pretty good one either way, and it's a really great representation of how he looks from the comics. And then next up, we have Ben Urich. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I do not know much about this character. I do know that this torso printing here was initially used, at least one of the instances I know this torso print was used with, was with the 2019 Bruce Wayne minifigure from the LEGO Batman Batcave set from 2019. Here's what the back torso printing looked like. Again, pretty nice and detailed for what it is. His front face printing has him smiling, and his back face printing has him just downright sad. So Like, that is just one of the most sad face prints I've seen in the entire set. So, yeah, so again, beyond that, I don't have anything else to say about Ben Urich here. And then next up, we have Bernie, the cab driver, where his torso print is pretty much, seems to be a really common piece, like really common. And one of the instances I recall this torso print being in that is from the LEGO Marvel theme is ironically with the MJ minifigure from the LEGO Spider-Man Far From Home Hydro Man Attack set. Here's what the back torso printing looks like. And again, he has a bit of a common face print as far as I can tell. I'm not entirely sure though. And beyond that, there's nothing really exclusive to this minifigure, though I will say I do like the hat piece they gave this minifigure. Mainly because this is the first time I've got this hat piece. I believe it's called the Beret, I think. I could be wrong. Oh, did not mean to drop that. Either way, yeah, pretty nice piece nonetheless. So glad to finally have my own copy of that piece. I just really like getting pieces I never got in LEGO sets in general. Next up, we have this character here who I'm going to have to look at the box for a reference. And her name is... Let me try and find her because there's a ton of minifigures on the box. Amber Grant. Okay, that's her name. Amber Grant. Again, I'm pretty sure she has pretty generic torso printing, and here's what the back torso printing looks like. And she actually does reuse the 2019 MJ minifigure face print from the Hydro Man Attack set, while on the front, she seems to be making confident smirk, and on the back, she seems to be, I guess, a little more determined or curious, judging by the eyebrow raise. It is a bit hard to see on the video with this piece here with the shadow overcasting, but this is a nice piece with the hat-hair combo here. But I don't have much else to say about Amber Grant, so yeah, moving on. And here we have Ron. I unfortunately couldn't find, unfortunately the part where his last name is kind of punched out on the box anyways. So I'm just going to call this guy Ron. I have no idea who this character is whatsoever. Does he have... Oh, yeah, he does actually have back torso printing, which is nice. It's a pretty nice detailed torso piece as a whole. And again, his front face printing is a bit of a generic expression. Though on the back, we do have a pretty angry expression for this guy. So, yeah, but again, beyond that, I really do not have anything else to say about this minifigure, besides the fact he's a generic civilian minifigure. Alrighty then, but now to the exciting part, the exclusive minifigures of the set. First, we have Firestar here, who comes with a couple orange, translucent orange Power Blast pieces. Nothing new or interesting there, but does fit the character pretty well as far as I can tell. And as a whole, this is a pretty nice minifigure for what she is. She has nice detailed front and back torso printing. And again, her head printing is also exclusive to the set as well with the mask. And on the front, she's smiling. And on the back, she has a more angry expression. So, yeah, again, a pretty good minifigure for what she is. A good exclusive. But I will be honest, of the exclusive minifigures, this one is my personal least favorite, mainly because I barely know much about Firestar. I obviously never really watched the early 80s Spider-Man and Friends cartoons, so I really don't know. And, anyways, and the next minifigure is probably one of my favorite minifigures from this entire set, and one of the biggest reasons why I wanted this set in terms of minifigures, and that is, of course, J. Jonah Jameson. Yeah, this minifigure is awesome. Once again, a really well-executed minifigure. Has a really nice color for this pen piece here, which I really like. And again, a lot like with Bernie the Cab Driver and his hat piece. I actually never got this pen piece before, which is always nice. And as for the J. Jonah Jameson minifigure, I mean, there's not too much interesting going on with him here. I mean, the torso printing here is pretty common. We get front and back torso printing. If I'm not mistaken, though, this torso printing has actually been used since the early 2000s. I believe the original 2004 J. Jonah Jameson minifigure from the Spider-Man 2 LEGO set had this torso printing, so it's crazy how old this piece is. But his front face print has a bit of a confident expression for J. Jonah Jameson, but the back face printing is really interesting, where it's literally his mouth just webbed up. I guess Spider-Man really wanted to shut up J. Jonah Jameson this time around, and he did so. Amazing head printing, and this piece alone is just one of the biggest reasons why I wanted this set in terms of minifigure selection. So, yeah, and now moving on to Blade, which I will say is a pretty good minifigure. Not perfect, but pretty good for the most part. Once again, he has some pretty solid exclusive torso and head printing that captures a character really well. He comes with a pack of katanas on the back where you can essentially just slide his katana blades right in. And you can essentially have him hold the katanas, which is always pretty nice. And removing the back accessory or weapons holder on his back, you can tell he has some nice torso printing. I will say this though, if there was one issue I would have with this minifigure, it's that I will say they should have given him a hairpiece of sorts, like Zane's hairpiece. But beyond that, it's still a pretty good minifigure for what he is. Could have been better, but still not terrible for what he is. I'm trying to put his sword back in his pack. And next up, we have Black Cat, which I will say is another really great minifigure. She comes with a whip as her main accessory. And once again, she has dual molded legs. And her torso printing, which is exclusive to the set, is pretty great as well. And on the back here, we have back torso printing too. Once again, front face print shows her smiling, confident, and all that. Back face print shows her a bit angrier. And again, both of the torso and head printing is exclusive to this Lego set. So, again, a really great minifigure once again. And then we get to what might be one of my personal favorite minifigures from this entire Lego set, Daredevil. And to be honest, I will say, I have noticed that the Lego community in general really tends to really like minifigures that are really detailed. Like, most people tend to think that minifigures, in order for a minifigure to be good, like, it needs to have dual molded legs or dual molded arms, like the bare minimum, or arm printing or leg printing. And like that's just the bare minimum for how good if a minifigure is good or not for many people. But for me personally, I'm the type of collector who doesn't really mind that kind of stuff. I just care to have the character in minifigure form. But I will say this, beyond that point though, in my opinion, I think that, I don't get me wrong, I really like it when Lego goes the extra mile and gives minifigures dual molded legs, arms, printing, leg printing, etc. But to be honest though, this Daredevil minifigure you see before you is honestly, in my opinion, one of the biggest examples of why I don't think every minifigure should have that much detail. Like, in my opinion, not every minifigure needs to have an incredible amount of detail. Like, not every minifigure needs to have dual molded legs or arm printing or anything like that. Sometimes a good minifigure can be as simple as this. Heck, the designer of this Lego set's favorite superhero is Daredevil. And I will say he did a great job designing the minifigure, with the batons being pretty nice accessories. But just look at how detailed the torso printing is alone. And the back torso printing too, for that matter. It is a really great minifigure. The face printing is also really great. Like, honestly, I just do not think there's much more I could want to ask for from this minifigure. I don't think there's much more I need from this minifigure. Like, it's just a great minifigure all around. There's just not much else I want from this minifigure. This is a satisfying minifigure of a fan favorite Marvel character that so many people have wanted for such a long time. And it is well executed, and this minifigure truly is one of the best examples of why I think not every minifigure should have a ton of detail. Like, this truly is a simple but amazing minifigure. But despite that, though, I don't think he's the best minifigure of the set, because that'll have to go to the Punisher minifigure, without a doubt. The very fact that this minifigure exists is just mind-blowing to me. Seriously, though. Like, this is one of the most adult Marvel characters to have ever been released, one of the most gruesome and violent. But yet, LEGO still decided to make him into a minifigure for this 18+ set anyway. But to be fair, though, he was originally introduced in a Spider-Man comic, so I guess he does. So there is good reason for the minifigure's inclusion. Either way, the gun builds he has are pretty detailed too. So, yeah, pretty incredible. And this minifigure in of himself is really great as well. Once again, he has dual molded legs, the same ones as Black Cat. as well as amazing exclusive torso printing, front and back. And on his front face print, once again, which is also exclusive to the set, you can see he has a confident smirk. And on the back of his head printing, you can tell he has a bandage on his head and is a lot angrier. Looks like he went into an aggressive battle. But either way, yeah, that's pretty much every single minifigure in this Lego set. Wow. All 25 minifigures. That is a lot. And just covering all 25 of those minifigs alone, like, that literally took half an hour. Incredible. And this is just the first part of the entire trilogy. Again, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you once again in the next couple parts to this review. So, yeah, goodbye.